On January 20th, 2017, I packed up my Vancouver wardrobe and boarded a plane from Vancouver, Canada to beautiful and sunny Los Angeles, or at least what I expected it to be.
We're eating out.
There, I spent the weekend hanging out with some awesome people and catching up with old friends, and of course, making new ones. On January 23rd, I got on a plane from LAX and headed to Panama.
We're on this beautiful beach in Panama right now.
The most asked question when telling people of my travel plans of going on 2 trips with 1 suitcase was
how I fit all my clothes in a carry-on suitcase.
To be honest, I'm not sure how I did either, considering I had 2 pairs of sandals, runners, 3 pairs of boots, a leather jacket, a jean jacket, clothes for LA,
drop top,
and my Panama wardrobe.
Basically, the trick to this was using a vacuum-packed seal bag, and this one you actually don't even need to vacuum, which is really awesome. But basically, I put all my Panama clothes in here, sealed it up like this, and you just squeeze the air out. You also kind of gotta sit on it a little bit to make sure all the air is actually out. And then I stuck all my Panama clothes in the very bottom of my suitcase, and that gave me room for everything else. And then I used my shoes to store stuff like toothpaste and lotion. That way I was taking up all the room in my bag.
As for what clothing I brought to Panama, the weather was around 30 degrees and sunny, and we spent the majority of our trip on a beautiful small island surrounded by palm trees. So my wardrobe consisted of light dresses, some flowy pants, a few shirts and pairs of shorts, and I will be doing a full cinematic lookbook on this, guys. And also, Christian does have a line of merch out, so you should definitely check it out. I'll have it linked down below. When traveling from one climate to another, you want to find ways to easily convert outfits. So take this dress for example. When I was in LA, I belted it to make it look more trendy, but on the island I kept it flowy, which made it look more casual and suited an island a lot better. I also brought a whole lot of bikinis, and my favorite style is high-waisted bikinis that you can mix and match with different tops, and a lot of my bikinis are from Space Swim. And then to get an even tan, I also have some cheeky bottoms from Victoria's Secret and a strapless top along with a top from La Vie en Rose. And no guys, these aren't all of my bathing suits. Usually I just pick my current favorites at the time, and on a week-long trip, around 3 or 4 bikinis will be more than enough. But when I do my long stints of travel, I will bring a lot of bikinis with me. I am guilty of sometimes bringing more bikinis than I do clothes, which can be a little bit of a struggle because you don't always have room in your suitcase, but I'm going to be doing a full video on that down the road when I go on my next big trip, which Christian and I are actually keeping a surprise at the moment, but it is going to be in April and it will be very exciting. Hopefully we will meet a lot of you guys on that trip, but you guys can stay tuned for that. Make sure you're following all of our social channels so you guys can know exactly when we announce that. What is up, guys? So I'll give you a minute to figure out what is different. No, I didn't get new throw pillows. Yes, guys, I have different hair. My friend Sarah Namrid did it at her salon yesterday, and my hair was getting a little bit damaged, so we decided to go dark. And these are actually clip-in extensions, so they're not like permanently in my head. So shout out to her. If you guys are in the Vancouver area, you should definitely check her out. She is an amazing, talented hairdresser, so I'll have her stuff linked down below. But I asked you guys on Instagram and Twitter to ask me some travel and fashion related questions, and I was blown away with how many questions I got. So I'm actually going to be splitting this up into 2 parts. So I'm going to be answering the first half of the questions in today's video, and then my video going out on Sunday, which is a cinematic like 7 days in Panama video. I'll be answering the second half of the questions in the end of the video, so you guys can look out for that. And I have started a video schedule, so I'm posting every Thursday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you guys can know exactly when to expect a video. And let's hop into the questions. Okay, so Paluana asks, how long have you and Christian been together? Love watching you two. Thank you so much. So we have been dating since oh my gosh, June 28th, 2011. So it was the year we both graduated high school, so it's been like 5.5 years. A long time. Casey_Mora, and I'm sorry if I'm like not pronouncing these right, asks, you are absolute goals. Oh, thank you. When are you going to travel down to South Africa? So we do our travel planning pretty last minute, just because travel plans, they can change for us really quick. So like we could get an email from a company being like, hey, would you be interested in coming, visiting our country, da da da. And then any travel plans we'd already kind of planned sometimes can get like a little bit messed up. So we do our travel plans pretty last minute. That being said, there is a chance that we actually might be going in July with my sister. So So it's like up in the air, but we may be coming to South Africa. I really hope so. I've always wanted to go to Africa. So Priscilla Arlene asks, how do you keep up with your hair maintenance when you're traveling a lot and take care of your eyelash extensions? And do you think you and Christian will settle down in Canada or another country? P.S. Y'all are my favorite YouTubers. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so to answer your first question, how do you keep up with your hair maintenance? Well, let me just tell you, it's not easy. I've actually decided my next trip, so like the next big trip, as I was mentioning, Christian and I are doing, I'm not going to have any tape and extensions because it is a huge pain in the ass. It's really difficult, to be honest with you, and you kind of wear your hair up the whole time anyways. So the best thing to do is say if you didn't have tape and extensions, is to bring a deep conditioner with you. And that would really help without to keep your hair from like drying out and whatnot. But other than just like I don't know, trying not to wash it as much. So if you go, I don't know, it's honestly, it's so hard because like you're going swimming a lot in the ocean. So I find like if you're not used to washing your hair every day and then you are washing your hair every day, it can get quite dried out. So try deep conditioner. And then if you can, don't go with tape and extensions because they are kind of a huge pain. And in regards to the color, don't go with colored hair. It's like impossible to maintain. I would suggest a dark color or a blonde, but nothing too crazy. And I had actually a lot of people ask me about hair maintenance and how do you take care of your eyelash extensions. So I usually get my eyelash lady to put more eyelash extensions on than normal. That way when they start falling out, it's not gonna look as bad. If they put less on and then they start falling out, you're basically gonna have none pretty quick. Whereas if they kind of pile them on more than usual, then when they start falling out, you're gonna still be left with what looks kind of like a full set. And also too, I get the volume extension. So there's like 3 or 4 little eyelashes on one eyelash. And then sometimes I will get them filled when I'm away. I'm kind of like weary of that. Someone asked me if I would suggest getting them done in another country. I have actually gotten my eyelash extensions refilled in the Philippines and it was totally fine, but the only concern is sometimes they use different glue over there, especially if it's kind of like if it's a smaller shop. You just need to be really careful about like the health and like safety regulations there, and just like ask a lot of questions if you are going to do that, and do research. So I basically searched up like best foreign Vancouver eyelash extensions, so like people who knew how to do them on foreigners, because sometimes also too like your hair is a different texture than people from that country, so there's like a lot of things you have to watch out for. It sounds like a kind of a pain, but it is nice to have them in a country that you're traveling, because then you aren't really wearing makeup anyways, and then if you have your eyelash extensions on, you don't have to worry about like putting mascara on and like you look good in photos. So I don't know. The only downfall is when you go in the ocean, I find like you can't rub your eyes like if you get salt water in them. So that's like the only downfall to eyelash extensions. Then your last question, do you think you guys will settle down in Canada or another country? So both of our families are from just outside of Vancouver, where we live now. So I definitely think we will settle down in Canada and have that as our home base. To me, I love Vancouver, and I definitely want to like raise kids here and like be close to my family. So definitely Canada. Okay, Carmen Castro 25 says, love you too. Do you ever want to have kids? If so, how many and what names? So yes, I definitely want to have kids. It's so funny, like I see, like the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, like that baby's so cute, like I want one. So I think I'll probably have like 2 or 3 kids. I always say 2 kids, but then I'm thinking like once I have the second, I'll be like, I want another one. And no, I don't know names yet. That's like that's way down the line. I won't have kids, I think, till I'm like 28. 30. So Sunny_SSH asks, how many cameras or video taking equipments do you bring with you while traveling? So we bring a lot of cameras with us. So it's mainly Christian that is bringing all his equipment. And so I'll actually leave his video link down below. He did like a full video on what equipment he brings and like what he suggests for travel vloggers. But he has like, so he has his 5D, he has his like Panasonic, he has his Sony a7S II, and then he has like, he has his G7X, he has his GoPro, and then I actually sometimes bring my 70D, which is what I shoot with a Sigma 30mm 1.4 lens, and someone else had actually asked me that question. I will put your question right here. So yeah, that's what I shoot with, and I have a mic as well, and I don't know, I usually bring it because I honestly don't even know why. I don't think the next trip I will bring it because Christian has cameras that do like an even better job than mine. But I do like my lens because it gives that really blurry effect, especially for like lookbooks or outfit videos. The 30mm does a really good job. So I usually will bring that lens, but the 70D, sometimes I'll bring it, sometimes I won't. It's like if I want to do my own shooting, usually I will like just use Christian's cameras anyways because he has so many of them. Quest Vibes asks, you guys travel so much, long distance must be tough. When you travel with Christian, how do you take with you luggage wise? You always look bomb. Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice, you guys. It's funny, I feel like it's all like a facade because like when I'm traveling I like feel like kind of haggard, but I like for photos and stuff I make myself look good. So yeah, long distance can definitely be hard. So Christian's actually going on a trip in February without me for 3 weeks. So yeah, long distance can definitely be tough, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And I always think of the quote like distance makes the heart grow fonder, and then we're always really excited to like meet up with each other again. So it's kind of like, it's not a bad thing, but it's not easy, it's not ideal. And how much do you take with you luggage wise? So the video you just watched will have just answered your question. I try and take as little with me as possible, just because especially when traveling like to Southeast Asia, you are kind of lugging your stuff from like island to island. The first time around I brought a big backpack with me, just like a backpacking backpack. And the nice thing about it as well is because clothes like you bring to Southeast Asia are pretty small. Like a pair of shorts and shirt will be this big, versus like say if you're packing for winter, like that wouldn't even be the size of like the sweater if you like wanted to pack it. So it's like not actually hard to stuff all your stuff into like a backpack or a small carry-on luggage, and you obviously then save money with traveling fees, which is nice. Disastrous Amy asks, are you coming to India anytime soon? And please can you give some hair tips for traveling? So I don't have any plans to come to India at the moment, but I could definitely see us going there sometime down the line in the future. Probably working with like a tourism board or something like that, because I know they do a lot of work with influencers. And some hair tips while traveling. And then I kind of touched on the other question before, so you guys can go back a little bit if you want to hear that again. But basically, deep conditioner. You can wear hats a lot. I wear hats a lot to kind of stop the sun from like beating down on my color. So if you have dark hair and it's like dyed dark, hats are a really good way to go. Or also you can bring some coconut oil with you and just have that like sitting on your hair. It will really nourish it, and it kind of just looks like you have wet hair, so like no one will even know that it's just like oil in your hair. Victoria Ashtareva, I hope I pronounced that right, asks, what is your favorite brand? So in regards to clothing, I buy a lot of my clothes at Forever 21 or like online clothing boutiques like the ones you see on Instagram. But Forever 21, like store-wise, is kind of where I buy all my clothes from. It's really cheap, and like, yes, the clothes can, I guess, maybe fall apart a little easier than something expensive, but like, I find I like get sick of my clothes really easily, so having like an affordable wardrobe is really good for that. And then like a few key expensive pieces, but Forever 21, H&M, also huge. I've also really started to like Zara lately, but it's like a little bit more expensive, so I'm like, It's Jessica VM asks, how did you and Christian first get started on your traveling journey? Love you guys. Oh, thank you. So we first got started on our traveling journey when Christian did an exchange in Bangkok. And so I was finishing up my last semester at university, and I actually graduated really quick. I graduated in 3.5 years, which is super fast because I actually did like a summer semester with 5 classes. And because I wanted to go traveling with him to Southeast Asia, I have like huge FOMO, so I was like, I want to go to Southeast Asia, and it was a perfect opportunity because it was something I'd always wanted to do, and obviously being able to travel with Christian, that's like obviously something I wanted to do. So then I met him he left in January, and then I met him in March in Bangkok, and we actually both lived there for like a few months. And that's when Christian was vlogging on his GoPro and was just making videos for like his family and friends, and it kind of like started to like build up a little bit. He had like a few viral photos during that time, and then obviously I was posting on Instagram as well. I was doing YouTube at the time as well. I had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers on Instagram, and then I kept like sending my photos to different Instagram accounts, and eventually I grew actually to 10,000 followers on Instagram during that trip, which was really, really cool. And that kind of made me realize like, oh, like I really like taking like travel photos and that kind of thing. And then it wasn't until then Christian ended up like quitting his job and going traveling, and I actually decided to do YouTube full time then as well to give me some more flexibility. And that's kind of how it all started. So it was like us just going to Southeast Asia, like really casually taking photos and videos, and it just kind of like snowballed and grew into what it is now. So it's pretty cool, and Christian has like a full like story about that, his I Quit video. Copper Garden asks, will you do more lookbooks while you travel? I'd love to see what you take/wear because I'm going traveling in 2 weeks for 18 months and want inspiration. Well, I'm very excited for you. You are gonna have so much fun. Yes, I'm definitely gonna be doing more lookbooks while I travel. As I had mentioned kind of in my It's Time to Be Honest video, I really enjoy doing fashion videos, and I really want to take my channel kind of like back to my roots and like me doing fashion. So you will get lots more lookbooks and like packing tips and stuff just like surrounded with fashion and travel. And This video, I don't know, well, I guess I kind of explained like what I brought in my suitcase, but one thing to note, like you will probably buy a lot of stuff when you're traveling, like shorts and dresses, so don't stress too much about bringing a whole bunch of stuff. Just kind of bring the basics, and like if you're going to a place like Thailand, you're gonna end up buying so much clothing, and it's like $5 for like an adorable dress that you could never find at home. So yeah, don't worry too much, and just pack like the basics, and you can go from there. Nasa Karina asks, Laura, you're amazing and beautiful. Thank you. What is your next dream trip, and how are you able to do all these amazing things? So my next, I don't know if this means like what's your dream trip or what's your next trip. So our next trip we're not announcing quite yet. My dream trip though, I really want to go to Europe. We have done like tons of Southeast Asia, but I really want to go visit Santorini in Greece and like a few places down there. So hopefully this summer at some point. That's like definitely on my bucket list. And then how are you able to do all these amazing things? Basically I work from the road, so I make money through like YouTube and working with different brands and whatnot. And then obviously like I work with Christian as well. And so that just allows us to travel and make money on the road, which is, yeah, basically how we're able to do this. Anna's Compass asks, what do you always use to feel fresh and clean while traveling in humid climates? And basically, the first time I went traveling, I actually brought a bunch of those like baby wipes with me. And whenever we'd be getting on like a long bus or anything like that, I would like wipe myself down, and it just like makes you feel like more refreshed. And then I'd have a little pack with like hand sanitizer and deodorant and face wipes. And so I'd basically, like when I didn't have time to shower, or like we were leaving one hotel, going out for the day, and then getting on like a night bus or something like that, you could just like feel a lot better, and then just bring a change of clothes, and that's kind of how you can beat the humidity a little bit. Alright guys, so those are all the questions I'm going to answer for today's video. If your question wasn't answered, don't worry, I will be answering it in the next video, and you guys can also leave an additional question down below if you guys want to be featured in that. So I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it and got some advice on travel and whatnot, and I'll definitely be doing more Q&As in the future. And that is it for today's video. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
Heaven, don't shoot me down.